The Centres for Research Training are one of our most important investments, and many years ago when the idea for the programme came about, it was really clear that there was going to be a big gap in skills if we didn't put a major investment in place to make sure we were producing the right kind of skills, particularly in digital and technical industries. And I think we can see nothing has changed since then, that the need for those skills has only increased.
Well, I think the Centre for Research Training, the CRTs, they're creating a huge pipeline of talent, each one creating 120 PhD graduates. That's the very peak of the education system.
I think the areas of training that the CRTs have focused on are spot on in terms of the areas that are key for growth in the next 5 to 10 years.
We take in annual cohorts of students who work across and research across a broad spectrum of topics ranging from computer science and electronic engineering to social science and applied psychology, with a very strong focus towards looking at solutions that can help with societal problems.
It was a great opportunity to talk about the skills that I've acquired through my PhD journey, and also it helps me to learn about what are the skills and knowledge that the industry required at the moment and what are the current needs of the industry.
It is really good to see what kind of options are available after I finish the PhD apart from academia. And these kind of events are very useful to bridge the gap between academia and industry.
At the event, it's been our pleasure to converse with the students about the skills they're developing, the skills that we need on our side to develop industry applications, and to help them look out for those opportunities to further develop their skills during their PhD programs.
Firstly, I think the event is amazing. I know that coming out of my Masters, I would have benefited greatly from something like this. The chance to actually get to learn directly from industry partners and be able to get feedback. And actually the idea of pitching your research and what you're doing to someone that mightn't have a PhD or have a background exactly in that area is a really difficult and important skill to learn. And I think an event like this will really benefit the PhD researchers, and they probably won't realise until they're in their first job role and they kind of saw what benefits they got from these 2 days.
Yesterday we had a meeting where presentation of all the industry partners, where they came up and they sold us their company in 10 minutes each. And that was really helpful because even though I knew about all the companies, organizations taking part, it was helpful to give us an overview of what they were looking at, the skill set they were looking for, and so on and so forth.
Second day today has been brilliant. We've had some roundtable engagements, talking with these industry partners in a small group setting, and it's been a very structured approach to engaging with them and figuring out exactly what skill sets and giving us an opportunity to ask them questions in maybe a slightly less formal environment.
I've enjoyed these 2 days because I could grow my networking, my network profiles, and also I brought my CV at these days, and so I collect straightforward feedback from experts in the area and from HR people. So that was the principal, the most important thing that I could gain from these 2 days.
This is a really new experience for me because now I can see which part of my skill I am lacking at this stage and I need to work on this.
We in Enable Ireland are delighted to be part of this initiative because it helps to open our minds as well and our eyes to what's happening in the research community that can have a really potentially positive impact on the work that we do.
They actually showed the interest in my research. That was the most important part, and I totally love the interaction, how they are coming on our level and seeing what we can do as a researcher and contribute to their company.
It's very easy when doing a PhD to get quite siloed and focused on dealing with your narrow topic. So events like this are a good way to understand what are the current industry benchmarks and realize how your work can correspond to what's happening out there in the real world.
Yesterday after the event, we went out, all of us caught up, what each one of us were doing, had dinner and so on. So it was really nice. In a country where you don't have that many connections, having an opportunity to make connections is good.
very nice to get in touch with the old fellas, you know, and to get to know like more faces, new faces. And it's very interesting to see how we have all a different background, but somehow we can all contribute to the companies in a different way.
I was so encouraged coming into the room today to see the diversity there. Like, you can actually see it, and it's not just a male to female ratio. There's all people from all kinds of backgrounds in the room, all working in these frontier areas of technology, and we need that. You need more voices to be involved in the development of the future, because otherwise we don't have a future for all, we just have it for a subset of people.
We have a very diverse cohort of PhD students, and it's well recognized in industry that diversity adds value. Diversity helps companies to be more competitive.
The Centres for Research Training are fundamentally about a really excellent training experience for the students that come through. But of course they have impacts beyond that, because part of that excellent experience is giving the students exposure to industry. Some of that's through the placement, but also through other events like this, where they can actually see the type of roles they might aspire to have and make sure that they're getting the skills that they will need to have those roles.
The role of industry is important, and I think not only is it important for the CRT itself, but it's also important for companies, because I think we're now in such a competitive world for all types of workers. We're at full employment. Trying to find people who are trained at this level is unusual, and I think these kinds of students are in high demand, not just nationally but internationally. So it's also important for the companies to engage, because they need to build up the relationships and the reputation with the students, so that the students will think about them and want to work with them in the future. I think it's a win-win, I think, for everybody.
We face huge problems going forward, and I think industry needs to become a very significant stakeholder to helping solve those issues. And I think that our graduates will be perfectly positioned to help Irish industry, to develop in that direction.
Yeah, we're an R&D software engineering centre, so it's very important for us to collaborate with all the universities, all the SFI-based research centre, Enterprise Ireland research centres. So it's very important for us to bring academia along in specific R&D projects.
We had Apple here since 1980, Microsoft 1985, Intel 1989, and then in the 21st century, Facebook, Amazon, Google, all opening key centres here that still exist to this day and haven't been too heavily impacted by the job losses that these companies are seeing at the moment. It stands to reason that Ireland's strength as a science and technology hub is going to continue.
As long as we have a conveyor belt of incredibly intelligent, highly trained individuals, those individuals will go out into the world, into our world, and they will contribute enormously. They will set up companies, they will write code, they will have amazing innovations. You can have no doubt that once you achieve a level of education, once you achieve a level of competence and learning, that is the foundational base for the magic of economics.
I don't know if I feel prepared for industry, but I feel prepared to be prepared, if that makes sense. I feel like I've been doing the PhD for the last 3.5 years, coming towards the end of my 4th year, and I'm excited to figure out what these new challenges will be like.
As far as I talked to a bunch of people, and we all seem to be really enjoying the whole event.
I'm here. You're not gonna get rid of me so fast. Yeah.
I totally loved it, actually.